No new infections to report in Muskoka. Deerhurst prepares to reopen once again. And daycares come back into operation. All that and more coming up right now. Welcome to Cogeco News for June the 10th. I'm James Bowler with what's happening in your community. So while we did see a new infection earlier this week in Huntsville, there's been no more community spread so far in Muskoka. Today's report from the Simcoe Muskoka District Health Unit once again showed a lack of any new infections confirmed in our district. The woman who was in her 70s who was confirmed infected earlier this week was said to have caught the virus from within the community. However, that does not appear to have moved any further at this point. Meanwhile, on the provincial level, Doug Ford's daily media update was interrupted after his team learned his Minister of Education, Stephen Lachey, had come into contact with someone with COVID-19. His test was quickly turned around with a negative report, and it's not expected the Premier or his deputy were infected either. Now, a major piece of the tourism puzzle is back on the table for Muskoka, but there are some new policies in place, specifically in Huntsville, that rental owners will need to pay attention to.
Short-term rentals are now allowed to reopen in Ontario while the state of emergency continues to stay in place. That means options like Airbnb are now available for anyone to take advantage of, bringing more tourism opportunity back to Muskoka after losing a few prime spring-summer tourism weeks in May and early June. Good news, says Airbnb owner Jennifer Jarrett, who runs 2 rental properties in Huntsville, one at her home and one in the Hidden Valley area. She says she's very hopeful this will bring back a badly needed economic boost for local businesses.
It was the right time to open up Airbnbs and short-term rentals. I think that it will definitely help start our economy again. Definitely work with those businesses that are opening up slowly, bring people back into downtown, and really just give everybody the positive outlook that they need right now. We have seen bookings 2 and 3 times a day. People are booking, so people are eager to come up. People are eager to get out of the city. We're finding more and more staycations, so people are staying within the 2-hour mark of where they live. And I think that they really just want to get out and walk the streets again and, pop into a little mom and pop shop and make some purchases and just feel normal again.
But Huntsville has recently put a new stringent policy in place requiring all short-term rentals to be licensed with the town. It's a move that came into effect earlier this year and would have had more traction and attention had COVID-19 not hit. But Mayor KERR Terziano says whether they're aware of it or not, all Airbnb and other short-term rental owners in Huntsville must be licensed.
Now that the province has said short-term rentals, cottages, things like that are available to be open again, we are ramping up that program, and we have the word out to all short-term rentals that they need to get licensed by July 15th of this year. So either get their license in place or get their application in to the town. And it's pretty simple process. It's all online, other than the inspection. So it's an easy process to complete. We will, as of July 15th, based on complaints, do visits to places that aren't licensed, and we will ensure that they get a license. One of the reports I think that is coming to council on the 22nd is we want to get them licensed, but I think we'd be happy to defer payment to the end of the summer for their license. We don't want to make it hard for them financially because things already have been that way. We just want to see them get licensed and make sure that their accommodations are safe and are certainly within all of the septic inspections and things like that and building codes.
Meanwhile, larger establishments are also looking at opening, like Deerhurst Resort, which is rolling through its own reopening strategy while providing COVID-safe accommodations for those interested in booking a stay.
Everyone here at the resort, we're excited, very excited to be welcoming people back to Muskoka into Deerhurst. but we're going to be doing it carefully and cautiously to make sure that everybody, our guests and our hosts, are safe when they're back here. An example is you'll be checking in now from your car. So our front desk will come to you when you arrive, bring you everything that you need for your stay, but we'll do it curbside for you. Our food and beverage is opening up for deliveries to our guest rooms across the resort, which is something that we haven't had in place here in a long, long time. All of our hosts will be wearing masks throughout the resort. We have put plexiglass in place for those instances where our hosts and our guests will be talking directly. We are limiting occupancy, so every weekend in June we're going to be growing our occupancy by a certain percentage just to make sure that we're testing all the precautions that we've put in place. We're delaying the time between flipping of guest rooms as well, so the list of things that we're doing to make sure that people are safe, even social distancing on things like our beach and on hiking trails, just to make sure that everybody can stay safe and it's easy to decide where you should be and how to exist around one another.
Well, we are going to take a quick break, but when we come back, a look at daycares reopening in Muskoka. Welcome back. The owner and operator of Stepping Stone Learning Academy in Gravenhurst says their daycare has been open for frontline workers since May. They are constantly adapting to the new rules and regulations when it comes to the safety of children. Now they feel that they are ready to welcome more kids as parents return to work. We have
daily screenings. We do screening questions of everybody once they arrive, staff and children. They have to answer all questions about symptoms, contact, if anybody they have been in contact with has had to be tested or had any symptoms, and if they have had any contact or symptoms, they can't come into the center. And that goes for anyone, and we don't allow visitors or parents can't even come into the center. The only people that pass the screening area is the students and the staff. And from there we have really high cleaning procedures. We are cleaning every toy, every area that children play in after each use. That means that nothing is shared between children without first being cleaned, including tables, floors, everything. So we actually had to get rid of about 90% of the things that we normally use and replace it with things that are easy to disinfect and provide more items so that if a child is playing with a specific toy and another child wants to play with them, we can offer a similar toy to that child and keep them playing separately but still enjoying the same activities. And we have them spending as much time as possible outside based on health direction, because it's not as easy to transmit outdoors, so we encourage as much outdoor play, and every time the kids are outside, the whole center gets a deep clean inside. And there's no staff that go between classrooms. Everybody is designated to their classroom and assigned to their specific children so that there's as minimal contact with various people as possible. We've been getting calls this whole time especially since we're the only center open for emergency care. Parents have been asking, and the problem is with all centers is there's only going to be a limited amount of spaces available. With the new restrictions, there's only 10 people allowed per designated area. That's staff and children included. So typically we'll probably see about 7 children per room. And we're going to help as many families as we can and do what we can for the community. But we're also talking about looking into different avenues of providing care in the meantime. Day camps, we're looking at opening up some day camps and stuff. That way we can help more of the school-age children in the day camps and welcome more of the younger children into our centers.
Now, we have received details that many child care operations in Muskoka that haven't opened yet likely won't be opening until June 26. We'll be following up with our MPP Norm Miller on this report and coming back soon with more details on that. And this is an interesting reminder you wouldn't usually be getting from the fire department, and just another part of the COVID-19 impact. It's also proof that that cute chipmunk you're feeding may have a sinister plot to try and kill you. Bracebridge Fire Chief Murray Medley says because people have been staying at home longer without using their vehicles, there's a danger your car, truck, or SUV could catch fire. He explains that animals are using vehicles parked for longer periods of time to make nests. Before leaving your residence, take the time to open the hood and look for vegetation before you drive away. According to fire officials across the district, there have been many responses to vehicle fires caused by vegetation and outdoor materials packed under the hood of vehicles. Officials say hot engines mixed with dry vegetation is a recipe for disaster, which can easily be prevented. We are going to take another quick break. We'll be back with more after this. Welcome back. Frontline workers continue to adapt to the new normal working in paramedic times, and that includes our paramedics. Melissa Candelaria from our sister station in Halton had a chance to speak with MADISON BRYDGES and gets a sense of what it's like to be a paramedic now and the changes they've had to make in order to continue serving their community. Take a look.
They are usually one of the firsts at the scene of an emergency, and it's no different in these COVID-19 times for Halton Region Paramedic Services. MADISON BRYDGES has been a paramedic for 8 years. She says in some ways they've had to adapt.
You know, we're used to diversity of calls. We're used to people calling us for a whole bunch of different reasons, and that definitely hasn't changed. And the care that we're able to provide for people hasn't, but definitely right now with everyone's heightened concern over the COVID-19 situation, I think it's really amplified our role in many ways. And I think paramedics have really been adaptable to quite a number of different things that have been thrown our way in the last few months. For instance, some of our community paramedics are doing swabbing now in long-term care and in people who can't get to an assessment center. So I think that's a really important role. But then just the rest of the time, that all of us that are on the trucks 24/7 that are still continuing to connect people to further care, whether that's in hospital or whether that's other care in the community.
These changes also include new protocols. BRYDGES says it has impacted response times, safety measures, and to some extent, their mental health.
We take a bit longer, unfortunately, to get to people. We have to take a lot of time to put on a lot of personal protective gear. We have masks, we have face protection, gowns, gloves, and I think that's one of the biggest challenges for us and probably for the people we serve is, we're sitting in your driveway for an extra couple minutes there just to make sure that we're safe and that we're able to provide that care. And then for us, there's a lot of cleaning. A lot of cleaning's happening pretty regularly throughout the day, and we also have to ask the patients and places we go a lot more questions about if they have any symptoms of COVID-19, just so we can communicate that to the other hospitals that we'll ultimately take them to. It's definitely different. I think probably myself, like probably many others, there's been a lot of information and a lot of unknowns, and that definitely created a certain level of stress for all of us, including members of the public and for the patients we've seen. And in long-term care and other institutional settings have really been hit pretty hard with COVID-19. So I think for myself, I definitely feel my heart goes out to them because that's been really challenging to see.
But despite the added pressure to serve the community in a pandemic, BRYDGES says the outpouring of public support makes the job she holds dear all worth it.
There's been lots of grand gestures of some really amazing meals and food that's been brought in, but even just some simple things of, we driving around doing a standby or going to the hospital, having, small children give you a wave, or the other day, an older man was crossing the road and stopped. He came back and emailed him thank you. So, those things, I think, even those little gestures, I think go a really long way. It means so much to know that our community supports us.
So much so that some call frontline workers heroes. When asked how she felt about being given such a title, BRYDGES couldn't help a modest laugh.
I think that's a challenging term sometimes because, we're very proud to serve in this role and to do this job. I have an immense amount of pride in myself and my coworkers for sure. I think for all frontline workers right now, I think across the board, whether you're working in a long-term care or a grocery store or another essential service, that everyone deserves that label right now for sure.
Reporting for Cogeco News, I'm Melissa Candelaria.
Well, an excellent reminder that there are many heroes working behind the scenes, and while maybe they're not looking for a thank you, they definitely deserve them. We are going to take another break. We'll be back with more after this. Welcome back. As many businesses start reopening again in our communities, so too do local organizations and services. For example, the Gravenhurst Library is preparing to allow drop-offs and curbside pickup for you bibliophiles out there.
We've been trying to be very adaptable and flexible to the new times with the pandemic, and we are launching our curbside service starting Wednesday, June the 10th, and we are going to be running it 6 days a week. So Wednesdays 2:30 to 6:30, and then Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday from 10:30 to 2:30. That's what we're starting with for our times. Basically, people can get a hold of us by phone or email us. They can also check out our website. We've got a special form that we've created on the website for curbside pickup. You can tell us what you want to check out. You can put holds on items yourself, and then once we've gathered up that information, we pick the items off the shelves for people, and we put them, we check them out, and then we're putting them in brown paper bags. We're clipping some information about that. We really don't want people washing their items when they get a hold of them, because we've actually done the quarantining. They've been quarantined at least for a period of a week, which is great. So, and any material that's coming in through the book drops that we're receiving now is being quarantined. So then what we do is once we've got your items together, then we give you a call and we set up an appointment time for you to come by and safely pick up your materials. And if people could, keep a minimum of the 6 feet away from that table and away from other people. We're trying to keep our patrons safe and our staff safe. And we are hoping to get a whole slew of new materials in that our patrons, our users in Gravenhurst can check out. So we're excited, and we're asking people to kind of watch social media, because we're hoping to post pictures of some of the new stuff that we've purchased over the past 3 or 4 months. We do realize it is a temporary fix. We're really looking forward to being able to open it up more widely, but at this point we're getting people back to being able to use the materials that we have in the library.
And before we go to our last break, here's a quick recap of what made headlines today in the news. We aren't seeing any other community spread of COVID-19 just yet, after a woman tested positive from a community-based infection in Huntsville. That infection was reported Monday. However, we haven't had any new confirmations of COVID-19 infections since for Muskoka. Doug Ford may have had a scare today after he learned his Minister of Education was in contact with someone with COVID-19. However, Minister Stephen Lachey came back negative on his test. The ordeal led to the first ever cancellation of Ford's daily updates to the province. Childcare is expected to start reopening in Ontario, but what does that look like in Muskoka, and are there some conflicting messages? We're following up with MPP Norm Miller for more clarification on that, so stay tuned. And we are taking our last break, but of course when we come back it is Wednesday, so you will be seeing Briar Summers with Muskoka on stage.
Musicalites. I'm back once again with your weekly update on all things musical coming to you online. It's time for another round of quarantines this week, which kicks off with Papa John Wooderick, also known as the fine purveyor of Mississippi Delta Plantation Juke Joint Blues. His soulful tunes will ease all your troubles, so tune in Thursday at 7 p.m. for his show on the Hunters Bay Radio Facebook page. And for more musical moderation, why not check out cover artist Jacob Pierce this Saturday at 7 p.m. This Aurelia-based artist will use his pipes and his electric guitar to play you anything from blues to classic rock, with a few requests sprinkled in as well. Head over again to the Hunters Bay Radio Facebook page for more details on the show. Once again, the amazing Barrie indie pop singer Megan Ann returns to the virtual stage, this time for the Essential Concert Series, a fundraiser for the Aurelia Soldiers Memorial Hospital. With a flair for storytelling, Megan's unique sound has been compared to Amy Winehouse, Hayley Williams, and Halsey. Catch her show this Thursday at 8 p.m. on the Essential Concerts Facebook page. To keep the little ones entertained during this time, check out the fun, family-friendly, and educational songs by Bette Smith's Betty and the Turnips. New videos will be posted every week or so on the Gravenhurst Opera House Facebook page. The Mariposa Folk Festival presents its first ever virtual stage performance this week. Enjoy the groovy tunes of folk funk pop rock artist Julian Taylor and the jazz folk blues stylings of Kalina Raquel this Thursday night starting at 8:30 p.m. This National Arts Center performance will be streamed live on the Mariposa Folk Festival Facebook page. And Bands on the Bay Online, presented by the Stocky Center, continues next week. On Thursday, June 16th at 4 p.m., catch Tragedy Ann. Their unique braiding together of poignant storytelling, organic harmonies, accordion, singing song, guitars, and ukulele will not disappoint. The show will be streamed on the Stocky Center's Facebook page and YouTube channel. That's all for now, but don't forget to come back next week for some more amazing virtual shows.
That's Cogeco News. Find more information on the program on YourTV.tv or on social media, YourTVMuskoka, and remember to watch us live at 5, Monday to Thursday. Thanks for watching Cogeco News. Have a good night.